Hey, you're listening to Young's People Podcast. Thanks so much for tuning in. Today, we're talking about something really, really important and a great opportunity if you're looking to grow your career while staying in the wonderful world of pubs. We're talking apprenticeships. So let me introduce who we've got today. So, starting off.
Hi, I'm Issy. I'm one of the retail trainers for Young's.
Fantastic.
I'm Katie. I'm an assistant manager at the Bull in Bracknell, which is a Young's pub.
Hi, I'm Caitlin and I'm an area sales and marketing coordinator for Surrey, Berkshire and beyond.
And beyond. I'm Andy. I am the Director of Quality for Performance Learning Group, an apprenticeship training provider.
Yeah, you're our special guest today.
Yeah, I'm honoured to be here.
You are. We've brought you into the Ramilly. I hope you feel a part of the Ramilly.
Absolutely.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
You are an extension of our team. Absolutely. Fabulous. So I guess, we'll start off with the basics. And Issy, I'm coming to you. What is an apprenticeship?
Well, what isn't an apprenticeship? That's the question. It is a training program which is essentially all catered towards learning while you earn money, basically. So it's all on the job training with a little bit of like academia thrown in. But yeah, essentially it's a training program that teaches you skills that you can then apply to the job that you currently have. Would you say that's right, Andy? I'm looking at the expert over there.
I was letting you go with it. You were doing really well. Yeah, absolutely. So it's a job that's underpinned by a training program, first and foremost. That's it in a nutshell.
Fantastic.
Yes.
And it sounds a little bit too good to be true. Are there any catches?
I'll let Izzy answer that one.
No, I don't think there are any catches to it per se. I think, like for me personally, I mean, I did a coaching apprenticeship last year. I never went to university, never got a degree, didn't think I would ever do that. And then came to Young's and it was like, why wouldn't I do it? Because you basically, you do all of your learning during your working hours, you apply it to everything that you're doing at work. So it just kind of seemed like, well, I'm getting a free qualification here. Why don't I just do it?
Absolutely.
So I think if you're motivated and you want to earn a qualification on the job, I don't think there really are any catches. You just got to be hardworking, really, and manage your time effectively, I think.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and I imagine you get out what you get in. You put in, right?
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
It's that. And we've got two people that are here that have done very different apprenticeships. Is that right?
Yes.
Katie, should we start with you? Do you want to tell us a little bit about your journey?
Yeah, sure. So I have completed. I finished it in December 2024.
Woohoo!
So I've been free for 8 months now. So I did a level 3 food and beverage hospitality supervisor apprenticeship. And for me, kind of the way that I got into it was I knew that I wanted to progress my career. I mean, I'm 28 and I knew that I could kind of go through the motions of getting experience and maybe to one day be a general manager in, I don't know, 10, 15 years, that kind of thing. But I thought I wanted to give myself that little push. And for me, like getting into the apprenticeship, I thought, well, I'm settled where I am. I've got really lovely like general manager who's supporting me. So I just thought, you know what, I think the best thing for me to do, like you said, why not just do it? I'm here already, I'm working, and I can just apply the skills that I learned throughout the apprenticeship and put it, into my job. And then I got a promotion at the end of it. So I'm an assistant manager now, which is great. I sort of started as a supervisor and now I'm where I am. So
that's awesome.
Super. I mean, definitely what I wanted to do. I got out what I intended to do when I started the apprenticeship. So
amazing. And how long was that apprenticeship?
I did it over the course of about 13 months. Yeah, so I started in October of the previous year. Like I said, finished in December. So about 13 months. But you do modules as you go along. And for me, I met up with my my tutor sort of once a month. It was a mixture of like in the pub and then online and things. And you sort of like do modules as you go. And stressful for sure.
Yeah, of course. Well, that's
the reality. Yeah. I think going back to education as an adult is quite stressful. But it's a great 100%. Challenge, isn't it?
Yeah, because you have to do all your I don't know if it's the same for you guys, but I had to do like this kind of the skill scan. I do like my English and maths assessment again. I thought, oh my goodness, like I'm back in.
Can I remember what a semicolon is? I don't know.
I was okay with English, but I was like, algebra, and like when you're at school, do you think
algebra?
I'll never. I know.
They made you do
Was I set up?
Yeah, next level.
I just wanted to go back to them and be like, excuse me.
And when I finished school, I was like, well, I ever need algebra again. And hey, I guess I did.
Yeah, excellent. Listen in school, kids.
Yeah, exactly.
Fab.
But yeah, so that's kind of like how I got into it and where I am now.
Oh, fantastic. And Caitlin, you're in the midst, are you?
Yes, so
Okay.
I am, I think, about a month away from starting my endpoint assessment. So lots of work gone in.
Fab.
I've been going for 13 months. There was a little bit of a hiccup with tutors and stuff back in December, which was, to be honest, it was perfect timing with Christmas.
Busyness.
Christmas
Yeah,
being
yeah.
a massive one to market. But no, so very, very close to the end now.
Fab. And what's
exciting.
what's the title? What are you?
So I'm doing a level 4 digital marketing executive apprenticeship. So
Okay.
as far as I'm aware, by the end, it should be like an undergraduate degree,
Yeah.
which
Amazing.
again, similar to you and both of you actually, I came into hospitality at 18, not really knowing what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
And then falling into this role was a blessing, and then being offered to learn the theory behind what I'm doing and
Excellent.
actually why I'm doing it is such a blessing, because I would never have thought marketing would have been my career. So it's really nice to have that as an additional, and to have a company that appreciates the education of their employees and wants to kind of allow them that continuation of career.
Yeah.
I think it's massive.
I think
Absolutely.
like that's the thing is, even if like earning the qualification is amazing, but like it just makes you far better at the job that you're currently doing. It just makes you more confident. Well, it did for me anyway. Like it just makes you feel more confident. Like when I started this role, I had a bit of imposter syndrome. And I think doing the apprenticeship really, really helped like solidify the theory behind what I'm doing, and then made me feel like, oh no, actually I can do this. Like the challenge was really, really helpful to me to like remind me that this is actually something that I can do.
Yeah, absolutely. And I imagine, hospitality is one of those industries, isn't it? We'll all probably admit that you can fall into.
Yeah,
You can fall
for
into
sure.
it, whether it's a starting, it's a first job after uni, or even during uni, or after, before you go to uni.
Yeah.
Where, you're picking up a couple of shifts and you work behind the bar, and actually all jobs within hospitality are so varied, and you need so many skills. It is not an easy job. I think that's such a misconception of people that have never worked behind a bar.
A lot of people, they think it's like a stepping stone job.
Yeah,
Do you know what I mean? But
yeah.
actually, it's like, okay, come behind the bar and pull a pint then.
Yeah,
or
100%.
like work
And
a couple
remember
of
that
shifts.
table that you're running, and your
Yeah,
food there, and
exactly.
checkbacks and all of that. But actually, I think for those that, once they stumble into it, are actually quite hungry then to grow and go, do you know what? This can be a career. And maybe, apprenticeships are that perfect kind of support to potentially get you to that next level.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. For sure.
But yeah, so Andy, tell us a little bit about kind of what PLG Group does.
Well, so I was just going to pick up
What
on a
don't
point
they
that
do?
you guys what don't we do? Yeah. So just to pick up on a point that you guys were making in terms of the progression that's available as part of the apprenticeship programs, like Katie did a level 3, you're on a level 4, they go all the way up to level 7. So
Wow.
you can do apprenticeship
Didn't even know
programs.
that there was a level
yeah,
7.
so you can do apprenticeship programs at grassroots, sort of like level 2, and then you can progress all the way up and do like a level 7, which is the equivalent of a master's qualification.
Wow.
So there are qualifications and apprenticeship standards that are aligned to job roles all the way throughout, hospitality specifically, which is the sector that we specialise in as an organisation. So yeah, all of our programmes, we've been working with youngs for, goodness me, like 10 years now.
Oh, really?
Maybe even longer than that.
Yeah,
A long time. And the programmes that we wrote were informed by Tracy Dodd. Chris Knights has had quite heavy involvement in them as well. So they're programmes that we've run multiple times over, and we've tweaked them and changed
Tried and
them.
tested,
Yeah.
yeah.
And we were actually talking about some of the amazing results that have been coming through recently. We've been getting like 75% distinction rates on the Commis Chef program, which is amazing. That's
Yeah.
way above industry average as well.
What is the industry average?
For distinction, it's about 30-40%. So it's
So we're
really
smashing
high.
that. Well done, everyone.
Yeah, but in addition to that as well, not just, I keep hitting that wire, not just, you know, people who are achieving a distinction, but people that come on to the apprenticeship programs with youngs and stay on the apprenticeship programs as well. The retention rates of people that go through that program and actually enjoy it as well is like 60-70% against a 50% national average. So,
and why do you think that is?
I would like to think it's because we're so amazing.
Absolutely. But I'm just wondering, you know, is it because it's, you know, tried and tested and we've tweaked these courses over the years so that they are so fit for purpose and so, you know, easy for people to do alongside and apply in their jobs because they're, you know, they've been designed for that job. I don't know. Is that...
I think it's because they're quite well embedded within Youngs, and I think it's something that we've worked really hard to do. So everything that you do as part of your apprenticeship program with Youngs has been aligned to those job roles. So, you know, we don't take you away and take you to college for a day or anything like that. Our trainers come to see you. So it kind of feels like a really organic development process within Youngs rather than something that's added on, I would like to think.
And I think agree with that. Like exactly like on your point, for me, the whole, because you basically, a percentage of your apprenticeship that you do, it's called off-job hours, which basically means, like I said, you have your modules and things, but a lot of that you can take away, gain your own experience in whatever you kind of like, as long as it applies to your apprenticeship. You can add them up to your off-job hours. So for an example, I mean, you were saying it's really aligned with what you do, and actually you can tailor it to yourself. So like not every pub is the same and you're going to have slightly different roles. So like for me, I was a supervisor, which meant that I had, you know, I was doing the cashing up and bits and pieces already. But for somebody, if they were doing the same level as I was, but at sort of like a team member level, for example, they could tweak that into whatever off-job hours they wanted to do. And like for me, I remember I saw you, Issy, at an Estrella beer training thing. Remember? It was like last summer. And I learned so much through that. And there was like a little section in my apprenticeship on wine tasting. So I did all the wine tasting things, but I was able to then put in this Estrella day, which was when we I did beer tasting, and I was like pairing it with different crisps as well. And stuff. That actually helped, and it kind of it aligned with my modules, and I was able to put that. And so it was a day out in London, and I was learning and getting paid for it, and it was great.
And enjoying it and having the beer and the snacks.
Came home quite merry. Actually.
Love that. There's not many other industries that I think we can apply that to.
I think maybe that's why you're saying, you know, we do have the retention rate, and it's because you really can make whatever you want out of your apprenticeship. And my trainer was more than happy to go ahead, go on a little beer training day. You know, we can make it work. And I did learn, and I've retained that information regardless of the amount of Estrellas I had. So.
Absolutely. I think you took some notes at the start. I think.
There was photos. There was photos.
Brilliant.
So handwriting starts to do this.
He veers off for today.
I can remember the start, but so just with what you were saying, I completely agree, and that's a really good, for me, that was really great being able to do that off-job hours and embed that into my course.
Amazing. And so the variety of apprenticeships that are available, you know, obviously we've got Caitlin here that's coming from a marketing perspective. We've got kind of hospitality in that operational side. I imagine there's loads more.
Like the opportunities are quite literally endless. I think if the apprenticeship is similar enough to your job role, you can do it. Like we're constantly researching new apprenticeships. We've got people in the property team doing a master's as an apprenticeship right now, studying to become a chartered surveyor. It's 5 years. It's a big commitment, but it's all paid for through the government levy. So, I mean, she's getting a completely free degree. I should say it's Steph. She's getting a completely free degree to become a chartered surveyor, which is awesome. That's amazing. The opportunities are kind of endless. If a lot of the time I haven't thought of something, and someone will come to me and be like, "Oh, have you thought about could I do an apprenticeship in HR, for example?" And I'll go, "Oh, actually, probably could. Yeah, let me have a look." So it really, really does just depend on what you want to do. Basically, it's so flexible.
Yeah, it's probably worth mentioning as well about the recognition around apprenticeship programs, because I think some people don't recognise and realise just how comparable they are to academic qualifications. So, you know, a master's degree apprenticeship is exactly the same as doing a master's at university. So they are directly linkable in terms of the achievement that comes out the back of it. So you can do a master's degree apprenticeship or any apprenticeship at whatever level and have the same achievement as you would do if you went and did like a full-time college or university course, you know, they are directly comparable.
I mean, it should be more because you're doing that alongside a job.
I know.
You just think it's it's extra hats off for doing that.
Yeah, and it's just juggling, you know, as Katie says, you know, it is a commitment and it does require a bit of focus. But once you kind of like nail how to manage, you know, your professional life working and then your academic life as an apprentice, you know, it can kind of interweave relatively seamlessly.
Yeah, definitely. I think that gets easier as you go along as well.
Yeah.
You know, just in terms of, because I think obviously having this, however many hours you have to do on your apprenticeship plus my 40 sort of 5-hour job a week, I think at the beginning, like for me, it was really stressful and I found it hard to navigate sort of how I'm going to do this and how I'm going to do this. But I think I would say to anybody that is looking to do an apprenticeship, especially from my experience and with PLG as well, your managers, they know that you're on this apprenticeship and they should, like they are meant to give you allocated time in your work shift so that you can do that work.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, so it's all meant to be done along the job. I mean, if it was really busy, because obviously I was doing it leading up to quite a busy time around Christmas, my EPAs and stuff. Don't get me wrong, of course I had to do that bit of revision when I was outside of work and things, just like with anything, it's the commitment side of things.
Yeah.
And I'd say certainly if you're aiming for a distinction, then you're going to have to do that little bit of extra outside of work. That's just life, you know, it's just what you have to do if you want to achieve something, right? But no, certainly they give you time on the job to be able to complete your work. So it's not like you're doing this 40-hour week, like I said, and then you're going home and doing another 20 hours and stuff. It shouldn't be like that. Do you know what I mean? So they do give you allocated time so that you can do that whilst you're working.
And it's always finite as well, isn't it? You know, so there's always an end to it. So you go through that short period where you're kind of thinking, you know, there's a lot going on, I'm busy, Christmas, you know, December, hats off to you doing your EPA in December.
Thank you.
Yeah, but you know, there's always that light at the end of the tunnel, and the outcome is always going to be worth the investment.
100%.
So it's
and I think from the manager's perspective too, like they invested their time in you, right? And it's paid off because now you're like assistant manager, super qualified, really great at your job.
Exactly, yeah. So it's a no-brainer.
It's an investment for them, but at the end of it pays off.
Yeah, definitely.
For sure.
Yeah.
Amazing. And I guess, are there certain ones that you find people come to you more often for, or that are quite popular, or does it literally vary?
It really does vary. And yeah, I guess it sort of varies with the job role.
Okay.
But we've got a lot of front of house people who are interested in the hospitality level 4 manager. And then you specialised, didn't you? You did like the food and beverage one. So
nice.
There are loads of like specialisms within that. So you can like specialise in food and beverage. Correct me if I'm wrong, Andy.
No, you're doing great.
You can also do like housekeeping ones. You can do ones that are more catered towards events. We have a lot of people interested in the marketing ones, actually.
Oh, fab.
And there's loads of different levels to it. So you're doing the marketing level 4 executive.
Yes.
But we've also got like multi-channel marketers. So like for people who work in really big businesses where they've got like multiple different like revenue channels. So like they might have an event space, they might have I don't know, do weddings, all of that stuff. They can just do marketing for that one site as well. So we've got loads.
Nice.
I could sit here forever and talk about them. But there's no sort of specific one that's more popular than others. But then the chefs ones as well, I think they've probably been our biggest success for sure at Young's. But I think that's like a testament to the relationship with PLG and the food team. Like they have a really great synergy, I would say, of like making sure
Great
that
work.
it.
That's really nice.
Absolutely. She's half the point, and now she's really. I'm coming to her own.
This is the sweet spot. But yeah, they do. They just have like a really great relationship, and it's that flexibility and the making sure that it's it's relevant to what they're doing in their day-to-day jobs.
Yeah. And I think both of you have mentioned kind of that support throughout. So were you kind of assigned, in terms of how does it work? Do you get assigned like one tutor and then they support you throughout, or do you work with kind of different tutors? Or so on, I guess, from both of your experience.
Take the reins. So, yes, you're assigned one tutor.
Okay.
In my experience, so we were given a kind of start of learning meeting with the tutor, line manager, who for an area SMC is our ops manager.
Sure.
and then myself, and we would kind of run through the kind of program of learning, what that looks like, and then we would have monthly meetings similar to Katie and her tutor. Mine were all online. There were options for me to, with a previous tutor, to do in person, but I didn't have her for very long. And now I have Hilary with Ginger Nut, who is incredible, and she's kind of
Shout
really
out.
Shout out.
she's coached me through it.
Oh, amazing.
But no, I think the really lovely thing about specifically my line manager is that he is all about people and progression. And when I told him this was what I was doing, he was more than happy to give me that, whether it's one full day, kind of that 7.5 hours in one day, or split across 2 or 3 days. It didn't matter, as long as I was happy, comfortable, you know,
you do it on
making
like a
it
Monday,
achievable.
Because you have that day out where it's like,
like Mondays are normally kind of my admin days anyway, so it was really nice to kind of take some time out, and then also kind of start to apply my learning to, you know, even something as simple as responding to an email that doesn't seem that urgent. It might seem urgent to somebody else, and it's how you kind of give that professional communication back to them to say, is it? Are you,
For sure.
Yeah. And I think even down to just kind of behaviours in the job, sort of self-confidence has been a massive, massive boost, because you don't...
Kind of what you were saying.
Yeah, you don't know... I think you don't know what you know until you learn it, because in my head, I was very much, I don't know anything. You know, I fell into this role just after coming out of one of the pubs. So I was like, I'm not qualified to do this job. And then lo and behold, it kind of all came out that I knew everything. I just needed to be able to apply it in writing and
like
in
organise
speech.
it in one place.
Yeah. Because there'd be the amount of sessions I'd have with my tutor, and it was, she's kind of saying, you know, you know it. And I'm like, okay. I'm really happy, because I didn't think I did.
But that can be, imagine, really helpful to have that from an outsider that isn't your line report, or isn't, you know, someone at Young's.
Absolutely.
That you know that you can have that kind of confidential conversation fully about you and your, you know, your strengths, your weaknesses, where you want to work, sort of thing. That isn't, you know, because I think some people might feel a little bit hesitant to have those sort of conversations, maybe with their line manager or a colleague, but having that safe space to almost explore that must have felt really good.
I think having those conversations with your line manager can definitely feel quite pressured, because you don't want to seem incapable or like you don't know what you're doing, but in actual fact sometimes so I don't know whether it was the same for you, Katie, but we'd also have reviews once a quarter on my performance and where it was sitting with,
and then you do the skill scan and all that.
So those are really helpful to get George's feedback on my progression since the last review as well. So I have it kind of...
It's nice because it keeps them in the loop as well, your manager, so that they kind of, they know, and they also... Sorry, I completely... No. Oh, well, I was going to say...
We do this all the time.
And now I've lost my point. No, I'm with you. It's back. Right, hello. I was going to say, it's like in those reviews that you do, you're sat with obviously yourself, your tutor, and then your manager, and then you kind of work on a personal goal, and it doesn't even have to be to do with the apprenticeship that you're doing, which I think is a super lovely thing. Like, I remember one of mine, I was trying to like cycle to work every day just to like save on petrol and stuff, and I was like, I'm going to make that my goal.
Very wholesome.
And I did it, apart from when it was pouring down with rain, and I think you can forgive me for that. 100%. I'm working a 12-hour shift when I'm drenched. I did that bit. So you do your personal goal, and then you sit and you work with an apprenticeship related goal with your manager, or you know, for your ops manager, and it's just kind of, like you said, it's kind of, you know where you're all at, and then you can actually work on that, and it's really nice to get your you know, your ops manager or general manager's feedback as well, and you kind of ground you, and you're like, right, okay, this is what we're going to do for the next quarter, and I found that super helpful as well.
And I imagine a lot of the time they're reassuring and going, I've seen that change in you. I know you've been focusing on that, and I saw it in that area meeting, or I saw it on that shift. And actually, you know, those external things can be quite validating, can't they? To know that, oh my God, I'm doing it. I'm doing it. It's happening.
I think for me, and I would imagine probably the same for you, Katie, it puts a lot of your learnings into perspective of actually something as simple as learning the brief theory of something so minor can actually affect how you communicate that thing, or how you write about that thing, or present about that thing. And then you kind of step back from it and you go, oh, that was actually quite good.
That was a golden nugget. I'm gonna
take that away.
Well done, me.
Yeah, exactly that.
Good.
A little pat on the back. But yeah, I think even just like the most minor of modules can feel like the biggest nuggets of knowledge, because you don't know until you know. I think that's major.
And I guess there'll be some of those modules that you hit and you think, oh yeah, I know that. And then actually you learn some more. You know, it's already a strength of yours, but you
100%.
go, oh, okay, well, I knew to that level, but actually I didn't know that.
Yeah.
And that's made you even more of a superpower in that area. And then
Yeah.
those areas that feel uncomfortable, you know, that we all have weaknesses or areas that we could grow in, actually forces you to look at that and go, right, come on, let's nail this.
Yeah,
and actually,
absolutely.
once you do that, that success feels even sweeter, doesn't it? Because
Yeah.
you've nailed something that you found even harder, probably.
I think that's probably one of the unsung benefits around apprenticeships as well. You know, having an external person come in and support you on those modules, you know, develops the breadth of knowledge you have around that topic as well.
Yeah,
so
that's
not
so true.
just within Youngs, but all of the trainers that work for PLG, and I'm sure it's the same for Ginger Nut as well, have worked across multiple organisations and have got years and years worth of experience. So coming in and being able to, you know, bring discussions to life through all of those anecdotal examples that they've had from their professional experiences kind of allows you to go, oh, okay, well, I see how that works within Youngs, but actually I also see how it could be done
Bigger
somewhere
picture,
else.
So the world's bigger than Youngs.
The transferability in terms of what you can gain from working with somebody like that is really valuable.
Yeah, I'd say specifically from a marketing perspective, obviously there isn't just Youngs, there is a whole industry of different variations of how people market, and I think the biggest learning for me was kind of taking certain modules away, like market research modules, and kind of going away and spying out competition and seeing what they're doing and how I can make it better, and you know, all these things that I could then take away, and like copywriting modules and sort of wider business objectives and things like that you can really take away and go, my pubs are doing great, but how can I now elevate? And I think that's been the biggest learning over the last year, is that they were doing amazing, but then with this extra knowledge they can do so much better, and then also better than the competition around the corner, because that's what we want. That's what we want.
And I imagine there's probably an element of your role, Caitlin, of a lot of inspire and engage. So a lot of the time, you know, you're trying to bring on board the, you know, general managers, but maybe deputies as well, and chefs and your ops manager, and actually you being that expert in that area and knowing that, I've got the qualification to prove it.
I've got it.
You know,
Slide it over the table,
you can pass those nuggets on, and actually they're then learning as well. So I imagine that feels quite nice to pass that on.
I think it's really nice because where I'm a coordinator as opposed to a kind of full-time creator, I am using those kind of nuggets of information and those pieces of content that can really be elevated with the guys that do the digital for all the pubs.
Yes.
So taking that away and going, you know, that was amazing, but next time let's look at doing this.
Yeah.
And you can see from kind of, I say the last 6 months, there's been just a really lovely improvement in that kind of quality and that feel.
Nice.
So it's been, again, as Katie said, it is stressful. There is no denying that, but you just need to make sure that you're kind of giving your manager that little pushback to make sure you're getting that time. If they're not, sometimes not remembering, or if they're a new manager and you're like, I'm already halfway through and I need to make sure that they're aware. Because I had that, and whilst George was incredibly supportive, it's having to have that conversation of I need a day or half a day here and there to be able to do the work.
Yeah.
And it does pay off.
Yeah, which is
110%.
completely fair, And so, Katie, just because I imagine your qualification or your type of apprenticeship is probably super popular, are there any kind of modules that you came across that surprised you, or that you really enjoyed, or that people might think, oh yeah, I know how to do that, but actually there's more to it?
So this is what I was going to sort of say when you were talking about you kind of go in and you think, I know everything about like this subject, and in these reviews that we were talking about, you do this skill scan, and it's basically from 1 to 10. You might have to help me out here, but like 1 to 3 is like I know nothing. Like 3 to 8 is like, oh
like I'm good, and then like eight and above is like,
it's like hair flip, got it.
Like I don't need
Toss.
you. I've got it.
Can we add that on as like 11?
Trademark. You just referenced Wicked in this podcast.
Yeah, 100%.
We've still got another few months.
It's a terrible moment.
So like I think there was so for example, I thought that I knew I wouldn't say like everything, but there was like a lot around just trying to think of like an example now, kind of like there was like a thing that was called like dealing with customers, that kind of thing.
Sure.
And it was something where you kind of went into the ins and outs of like going the extra mile for a customer, for example. And just kind of, I'm remembering, it feels like it was ages ago now, like another world. But I remember thinking, right, like, yeah, I know all about that. Put me at a 10, girl. Like,
I'm a service master there.
I've been doing like service masters. But then actually, as we kind of delved deep into it, there was like all of these little bits and pieces that I was kind of embarrassed with myself with. So she was like, oh, right, so you're doing this, and this, right? And I'm like, well, not all of them actually, but just sort of things like that. And for me, like I think I never really struggled with the behaviour side of things from my point of view. I always knew that like I'm in this apprenticeship and I like give everything my all, but then it's kind of like that knowledge side and actually like we've said like a million times, like applying it to there. And I think for me, like the struggle, it sounds really silly to say, but it wasn't so much things that I had a grasp on, but I'm really glad that it had things like finance and legislation in there for me as well, because that's something I think for a lot of people, like legislation, you're like, Fire and Health and Safety Acts, like, you know, and that's
scared of it almost.
Exactly. But I think the fact that the apprenticeship just like really, really broke it down for me and put into perspective like what's really relevant, and then like just some like surrounding knowledge as well. I think that's where I was really like super happy to be able to get that and for them to break it down for me, and it makes it manageable. You know, because if someone said to me, if I didn't do it through this way, right, tell me this and this about legislation, I'd be like, oh my goodness, I literally have no idea. But it's the way they broke it down for you. And
make it relevant.
But yeah, exactly. Thank you. Make it relevant. So
it's brilliant, because actually for a topic like that, it would scare a lot of people, and I imagine it's part of the.
But you got to know it.
Exactly.
You got to know
It's super important to know the stuff that is relevant, but also to block out the stuff that really isn't, because our brains are only a certain amount of size. We can't remember everything.
We can't take it all in.
We need to prioritise the important stuff. Fab, cool. And I guess, Issy, kind of, is there anything new and exciting on the horizon for apprenticeships?
Oh my gosh. Always.
Yes, perfect.
What isn't?
Always researching.
What isn't?
Also, what isn't exciting?
Everything's exciting. I'm thrilled. I'm just thrilled about everything. I would say, I guess all I would say that was exciting and new on the horizon is that if there's something that you've been thinking about doing for a while, and you're not sure it exists, chances are it probably does, and all you have to do is ask. We're constantly coming up, or not coming up, but we're constantly, researching new avenues for apprenticeships. And if it was doing a master's degree and you never got a chance, then Young's is definitely the place to do it. And why not?
Amazing. Yeah. What a lovely little nugget. And I guess, shall we get a little nugget from everyone? I don't know. Katie, what would your nugget be to someone that's maybe just about to
around the word knowledge quite a bit.
I actually haven't said it once.
Who's got nuggets on their mind?
You need to edit this with like a little nugget counter.
I've said it like 18 times. It's fine.
Have you? Oh, what else could we use? It works. Katie, your golden nugget, if you would be so kind. For anybody maybe starting an apprenticeship, or who's got it on the horizon and is thinking, should I be doing this? Is this the right thing?
It sounds really cliche, but honestly, just go for it. Young's, if it's anything like my journey, there is somebody with you every single step of the way. My tutor, no matter if I came with her with the questions that I thought were incredibly silly, one phone call away, one FaceTime away, even one text away, and she was there to support me. And all I can say is, like, again, we keep saying it's a bit stressful and it's a commitment, but if you want to do it, then that's by the by, if you want to do something, and I think that's not really a problem. And looking back now in like hindsight and perspective of things, I 100%, I'm so glad I've done it. So just do it. It will all be fine.
Yeah.
Everything's going to be okay. Yeah.
And there's a wealth of knowledge and a wealth of support in Young's, not even within your pub. Just go for it, guys. Just go for it.
Amazing. Love that. And Caitlin, anything to add?
Nugget.
My golden nugget.
My nugget is it's never too late to start learning
Brilliant.
again.
Nice.
Yeah.
I mean, I was 24 when I started. How old were you?
27.
So there's a whole plethora of ages and
Another good
abilities
word.
that you can start learning
Another
at.
good word.
And I think another thing that kind of is really important is the safeguarding aspect. They are very, especially with Ginger Nut, who is my provider, they make sure that we do safeguarding surveys every month, that we have contacts for safeguarding. It's mentioned in every review at the start of every session. So they are very hot on ensuring that apprentices are looked after.
Great.
Workload is managed. They are happy, comfortable, mentally okay, and that, everything isn't just getting too much. So as a whole, I would just say, we're, as apprentices, we are very well looked after, company and provider-wide.
Amazing. Fab. And Andy,
Wonderful.
anything?
I think just to talk about, we've spoken about the importance of that manager relationship, and there really are three people or three parties involved in an apprenticeship program, the apprentice, the employer, and then your training provider, whether it be us or Ginger Nut, but actually having all three people singing from the same hymn sheet and knowing exactly what's going on, that's when they work their best. Because if one of those cogs kind of like falls out the chain a little bit, it becomes quite challenging for you to be able to manage everything. And also, just around the flexibility of apprenticeships as well, that contextualization to job roles, depending on what you're doing at that particular point in time as well, seasonal businesses, you have peaks and troughs in business trends and stuff like that that's going on, and actually having an apprenticeship program that can adapt to that as well is really empowering in terms of all of that wider development you get from going on those programs as well. Like confidence that you guys have been talking about has been developing as well.
But I think that's
amazing.
like, apprenticeships are like reflect real life. Like it's that's what kind of sets it apart from just doing like a regular degree at university where you're kind of isolated in this learning bubble. Whereas an apprenticeship is like you're learning in the reality of what you're actually going to be doing. So it's, for me, it's like a lot more valuable.
Yeah, I'd say I started my apprenticeship a year and a half into doing the area sales and marketing coordinator role. So it's now been 2.5 years, and I feel like in that year, not only have I learned just a whole world of knowledge from that, but I've also kind of been able to apply it there and then. So I'm almost kind of going into having nearly 3 years worth of experience plus a qualification, which I wouldn't have been able to have said had I gone to university and done it, which I didn't know I wanted to at the time. So that's kind of an irrelevant point, but
No, not at all.
It makes sense.
It's a different route and it's got its benefits,
That's why I just say it's never too late, because at 24 I wouldn't have known that I could have done this without kind of Issy and everyone kind of giving me that boost to actually go and do it. So I was like, no, can't. I don't know anything. And lo and behold, actually, I know more than I thought.
Absolutely. Well, it's one of those, it's never a good time, right? You hear it, it's never a good time to move house. It's never a good time to whatever. But actually just going, do you know what, 2025 or 2026, let's do it. Let's prove to myself.
Always a good time to learn.
It is.
Very nice.
That's really
Absolutely.
nice.
I mean, I don't know how else better we close. Apart from with the world nugget. But we'll get in just one more time.
25.
Amazing. Thank you so much, all of you, for being so open about your experiences. I think it will be really insightful and interesting. So thank you so much. And I guess if people are interested to get in touch with yourself, Issy?
Yeah, absolutely. Just send me an email whenever.
Perfect. Fabulous. Amazing. So that's us wrapped up on yet another episode of Young's People Podcast. Join us next time. Toodaloo.